So a question that's been coming up recently is how to read the results of campaigns and judge if they're being effective if you're not yet making purchases. So when setting up new campaigns, working with new businesses, there is going to be this period of fact finding where you're not necessarily making purchases yet. Your objective is going to be to drive traffic to the site, to judge which audiences are performing best, and to build brand awareness before we start driving people through to actually make purchases. So this campaign is the perfect example really, because we're testing currently 4 different audiences against each other, and we're getting a cost per engagement of 1p across the board. So there's very little immediate difference between these audiences and their results. So how can we judge if these ads are actually being effective? Well, there's a few different metrics we can look at, and just to run through the current ones that we've got populated in these columns from left to right. The results column is always going to show you how many results you've got based on your objective. So our objective with this campaign was post engagement. So it's going to show us the number of post engagements we've got, whether that be likes, shares, comments. The next column across is reach. So this is the amount of unique people that each campaign reached. Impressions is the number of times that it was displayed. So as you can see, slightly more impressions than reach. So at least a few people must have seen our ads more than once within this campaign. Cost per result, so this is the amount spent divided by the total amount of results. So across the board here we've got 1 pence, which isn't really a good metric for deciphering exactly what's performing best. So we'll start to look at some other columns to find out better ways of judging effectiveness in a second. So our budget is self-explanatory, the amount that we're spending on each ad set each day. The amount spent, again, very self-explanatory. The schedule on which the ads are running. And the rest of these columns I've added in myself. So if you go up to the blue plus in the top right corner here and select add other columns, then we can add in a whole host of metrics which are also getting tracked but are tidied out of the way until you need them. So you can select things from in here which are going to be relevant to your campaign to decipher exactly what it is you're after doing. So we've got performance based metrics, we've got cost, page engagement, so we can see if we wanted, we can select page likes and see how many page likes resulted out of this campaign. We can also add into that the cost per page like, so we can see how much each of those likes cost us. There's almost no end of options in here, and Facebook's going to automatically populate based on your campaign objective the most relevant metrics to track in here. So if we for the time being just type in at the top CPM, which is the cost per 1,000 impressions, and we add that column in, then we can start to get a slightly more bird's eye view of how these campaigns are performing. So these are actually quite similar, so between 240 and 285, which means in terms of CPM they're all performing quite similarly. If we check all of the campaigns that we want to compare and then head over to the ads tab, then we can view the actual ads within here, and at this level we can view the relevance score. So this indicates how relevant your ads or content are in relation to the audience that you're serving them to. So you want to keep this at least above 6 or 7. You're aiming for as close to 10 as possible, and as soon as you hit 10 then you're going to get the very best ROI on your ad spend. You can see at this level if you've got multiple ads comparing against each other. Currently we've just got 1 ad within each ad set because we're comparing the same ad across different audiences in this particular instance. But you could see if you were comparing multiple ads within ad sets, how they differed and how the results were coming out on each one. So when we come to a retargeting campaign, when we're starting to retarget the people that have clicked through on those ads and taken an action, then we're likely going to be optimizing for conversions or purchases. So this is exactly what we've done here, and as you can see we can compare against each other the cost per purchase, which gives the clearest possible idea of which ads are actually working. And if we click down within each ad set, then we can compare actual ads against each other to see which ones are working and which ones are not. And what we'll start to do after a few days is to switch off the ads that aren't performing well and move forward with the ones which are providing us with the best results. Like this one, for example, is obviously massively outperforming the rest of the ads in this ad set. So when it comes to analysing your ads to decipher whether or not they're effective, bear in mind where your customer is in the sales process and what your objective is at the time. Add in the columns which are going to be relevant for what you're trying to track and what qualifies your particular campaign as successful, and react to what the data is telling you.